Top of the morning to you guys. This is the last part of this 4-part series where I'm trying to fix that 1946 Chevy dump truck. So we really like to use it on the farm. I got a bunch of wood to carry now, so I really need this back on the service. So let's see what can we do with it to make it run again. I have a feeling that this car didn't get enough oil to the rack. So that's probably a reason, because there was a pipe here, and that pipe was probably was leaking, and there was a bunch of leak evidence here. So I'm kind of thinking, look at this one is just broke. So I'm gonna take this out, and I will make one continuous pipe to go up here, go through, and go into this hole here, and hoping that's gonna be okay. Also, I'm gonna get this when I'm getting this one out, I'm gonna blow it out here. That's why I didn't put the lower pan gasket on. So I'm not sure it's actually gonna work that way, but we'll try. Put some car cleaner in, and let's see if I can clean it out, or blow it out. There's a minor discrepancy here, so I pulled this screw out, or whatever that fitting is, and then I was thinking maybe I can change this pipe, and it just pushed in. And no, it's connected to something inside, which I don't know what, so I need to find some diagrams or figure out how it works, or talk to someone how to change this brass line. It feels like it's screwed into something inside. It's right the other side of the hydraulic pump, or what is it, the engine pump, the oil pump. So maybe it's connected to the oil pump. I got to see, maybe I got to take that pump off and try to figure out what to do next. Now that's exciting. I learned something new. So apparently this one is a oil pressure distributor, and this line comes in here, and this will go across the water jacket and end up on the other side, and this is the reason why I couldn't pull it out. So I'm gonna have to remove this bolt and this fitting, and then hopefully the whole thing will come out and I can replace it. It's just a regular, I think it's a 3/8 copper tube, so it should be easy to buy. But if you want to be proper, you can buy the original fittings from the filling station. I actually found them for $35. So good news. Let's see how it comes out. It's coming out. I can't believe it. It's great. Now I can fix this. I can just change this pipe. It's out, and I just got to find another pipe, maybe even have some, and just change it. I just came back from Napa, and I was able to buy a copper tube, and very nicely it's went through. My only problem here is that this thing is going through the water jacket, and if it's going through the water jacket, there's not really a good seal on this. So I'm kind of thinking I'm gonna use a little bit of JB weld to weld this piece to this fitting to make sure that the water will not come into the oil place, the oil part of the engine. So I'm gonna have to probably bend this one a little bit, and then go up here and then put it in here. And on the other side, it looks pretty good. It just, I'm gonna have to just do one little bend there, put the fitting on it, put one little bend there, and then connect to that oil distributor. But now, since it's an oil distributor and everything was really dirty, I'm gonna take these 3 bolts off, or screws off, and see what's underneath to clean it out. See if I can clean anything out underneath. This was the lower hose, or radiator hose, and when I went to Napa, I asked them if they happened to have a proper one, and they actually had one in stock. So in case you wonder, this is the Napa number for this lower hose if you need to replace yours. Well, I took this cover off, and it looks surprisingly clean inside. So if you look inside, you can see there's not much debris in there. However, I wasn't able to see through this hole here, so I'm gonna take this fitting off, and then I'm gonna just clean it out, blow it out, make sure. It's supposed to be a little bit metered hose, so it's not supposed to have the full oil pressure in here. The oil pressure is supposed to take care of the bearings down there, but it's supposed to have some coming out. So I'm just gonna make sure that cavity is all clear, and it will have oil coming out when the engine starts. Looks like here's a little bit of valve on it, so I think this is the valve what adjusting the pressure on it. So there is the hole, most likely what would the oil pressure come in on, and then this will adjust the oil pressure to how much to go up and how much to go to that little hole there on the side. But nonetheless, I'm gonna blow this out to make sure it's all clear. My assumption was correct, so there's a little porthole, or a little bit of metering hole, and that's where the oil will come out. And this cavity what comes in from the side, it actually comes out on this little tiny pinhole. So I sprayed a little carb cleaner in it to clean it out. It was clogged and it took the paint off, but I don't care. But at least now it's all clear and clean. So now I just got to figure out what to do with the gasket. I can't find a gasket like this. So I'm kind of tempted to put some glue on it, but if I do, I gotta be very careful with this cavity because it could close it up. So I have to call around, see if I can find a gasket like this, or just put it back. I don't know. We'll figure it out. Next thing to do is to put this manifold on. I was thinking about taking it apart, clean it, put it back together, but I'm kind of scared of it. I'm not sure if I should touch it. I think the best thing to do is just to leave it because I don't want to get into deep in it. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna wire brush the surfaces, and I'm just gonna put it back dirty. It gotta be dirty at some place. It's not a restoration anyway, it's a farm machinery, so I'm gonna have to clean these little pieces what go in here. I don't have any new ones of those. And then I gotta prep these bolts and holders, but I guess since it's dirty, this can be dirty too. But I'm gonna just wire brush the threads to make sure they go in nicely. And then I can start putting these on. Meanwhile, I prepped this nice original coil. I'm just painting it. I painted one side and then the other side coming up. I just love this 6-volt coil. I can't believe it's still working, but I really like the way it looks, and that's gonna be on here. For a while it was upside down like that, and I think I'm just gonna wait to put that on until the valve cover gasket is on, but it looks pretty nice to me. The intake and exhaust manifolds are all cleaned up on the surface, but they are kind of old, so I'm gonna put a little bit of ultra copper on it. I really like that stuff. It can go on the exhaust, it's not burning off. Plus this gasket is not exactly the best one from Pro, so I really don't like it. So I'm gonna probably put this silicone on both sides. The ultra copper works really well on intake manifolds and exhaust manifolds, and then it should have a good seal. The manifold went up. It was fairly straightforward. I even remembered to make sure that the carburetor gas pedal linkage would come through at the hole. One thing I did forget is to install this thing here. This is the drain plug. It works really easily, so it goes in there. I gotta put some Teflon tape on it, and then if you wanna open it or close it, it's actually got a reverse thread on it, and it's gonna open up the bottom of it, if you can see that. And that's how you can release the liquid in it, as long as it's not clogged up, or as long as you can turn it. So I cleaned it up. I'm gonna put a little Teflon tape and put it back on. I also painted the dipstick while it was out, and it's gonna be yellow as well, just like the cap where I put the oil in. Gonna look nice. I got the carburetor up, and I filled up the oil. Filled it up with oil. I really like this Rotala straight 30 oil for these older engines. It's like who likes one kind of beer and then who likes the other kind of beer, I think. But I think this one has all the necessary additives for the camshaft in this car, and then it's like a good oil. I don't really like the new synthetics in the old cars, but I got the oil in now. It's all filled up, so I think we can try to run the engine, not run it without the spark plugs. We're gonna turn it with the starter, and my son's gonna turn the engine, and then I'm gonna see if the oil will come up here and then lubricate all this shaft, and if it does, then I can put the valve cover on it. All right, my helper is in the car or truck, and then he's gonna start pushing on the starter pedal. It's actually a pedal starter down there, so it's all mechanical. And then we're gonna see if it's gonna suck up the oil, and the oil will end up here and gonna lubricate this shaft, because I think it didn't do that in the past. Okay, Willie, go. Okay, stop. Okay, try it again. Nothing, no pressure? None. Okay, stop. Not even a little bit?
Nope.
No.
Maybe the die was broken.
The only thing we got to be careful with is that starter wouldn't get overheated, but it's not warm at all. And yeah, I just basically thinking that just the oil pressure needs to come up, otherwise it's not gonna be good. But at least there's no explosions. No explosions means there is no pressure on the bearings, so I think it's good what we're doing. Let's check out the other side. Maybe there's something leaking on the other side. No, there is nothing leaking there. It looks good. Okay, go. Nothing, huh? Nope. Yeah, the starter is getting just a little warm. I can still touch it with my hand, but it's an old thing, so we're gonna be nice to it. So we're just gonna wait a good half an hour, let it cool down, and then we're gonna try it again. We got about an hour and a half past, so we're gonna try it again. Okay, go. Okay, stop. I think I'm gonna continue and put the whole car or whole truck engine back together and then try to start it up. The bottom one will have oiling, so the only problem I have with it is the oil is not getting up here. So I got two options here. Either I take the distributor out, get a flat screwdriver in a drill bit or in a drill, and then start drilling it up. But I don't want to take it apart unless I have to. So I'm thinking I'm just gonna put the exhaust on, connect the carburetor and ignition, and then I'm gonna try to start the damn thing and then without the cover on, and then see if it actually comes out. If it's still not coming out when the engine is running, then I'm gonna pump it up, or I may have to change the oil pump. I'm not sure yet. So I think that's what I'm gonna do, just keep on going and put it back together. Here's the new exhaust system. I can't say it's real nice, but it's new. There's the muffler, and this piece will go over the rear axle and so on. So I'm gonna start with this. This is go on the exhaust manifold, and then probably put this pipe on and get the muffler on, get a hanger. It didn't come with any hardware, so I'm gonna have to go to O'Reilly's and buy some and then just hang it up. Got the first piece off with a new gasket. I didn't tighten it up enough, so it still have a little looseness, so I can adjust it with the rest of the system in the back. Since I don't have a reference, I came into my man cave and I'm gonna look at this nice model. It's pretty much the same truck, just a little longer on the back. It's a stake truck. So on the bottom, it looks like the exhaust only comes to here. It's a little bit longer muffler, but I guess that's all it is, and it comes out to this side. So I don't know how true that is, but the exhaust system is not really fitting on the truck what I have bought. I got a nice yoga mattress to lay on, and you can see that this muffler comes up here, but doesn't go further than that. And then here's the other piece that goes over the rear axle, but there is a distance what's missing. If I really wanted to want it to come out at the end. So I'm not really sure how to proceed. Maybe I'm gonna do the same thing what was in the model, and I'm just gonna bring it out to the part where my dog is laying right now, and maybe I'm just gonna make it go there and come down, and that's it. Border collies are smart. She had the right idea. She laid down on the right side, on the left side. But this exhaust system looks great on that side. I think it's meant to be there. And I don't think I want to go over the rear axle. There's no reason for it. I'm just gonna cut out a piece of this piece, what came for the rear one, and then it's just gonna go escape just before the rear wheels. Only problem is I'm gonna have to cut this after thought a little bit because it's touching the muffler. Somebody valued it there to hold something, so I'm gonna have to cut a piece off of that shape metal, and that would work. All right, success. I was able to cut this piece off, and now the muffler gonna fit very nicely around here. Somebody added this to hold this drive shaft in position, what runs the pump for the dump part. I tied down the exhaust system. It looks pretty good. I just need to work on the end and then the holders, the hangers. But meanwhile, before I forget it, I reinstalled the temperature gauge sending unit, and you gotta be careful with that pipe because it has a gas inside, and that's how it expands, and then it's pushing the gauge in the cabin. I also put on the air filter, and here's this fuel filter, which makes me think this is a really bad idea. I have a tank in the cabin. It's unfortunately the original tank is busted, so I didn't want to spend $500 on another tank yet. So I have a regular boat tank in it, and I was pumping up the boat tank to have fuel in here, and it started to leak right between here. So if it starts leaking right on the exhaust, it's not a good idea. So eventually I'm gonna change that tank. I'm gonna buy a new tank, and then I'm gonna remove this and replace it with one piece of pipe, because yeah, having a filter over the exhaust is not the best idea. That's how I got the vehicle. There was a filter in there, but I added this filter, and yeah, certainly that's not something what's gonna work well in the future. I've butchered this piece off, and now this is gonna be the end piece, so this is gonna steer the exhaust gases downwards. All right, finally it's done. I did this unorthodox support here because there was an original place where this muffler is supposed to be supported, and I'm pretty sure it was with some sort of metal bracket. If you guys have any better idea, please leave me a comment, but it's pretty solid. It's right there, and then here's the end. It just comes down, and it's actually just a dump truck, so it doesn't matter, so it's all good. Well, I think the moment of truth has come. Let's start the thing. We got excellent oil pressure. Just gotta see if anything coming out. I gotta go outside. Well, nothing yet, but as you've seen, I had like 15 pounds of pressure. That was really nice. So I think I just need to run it a little bit more. Maybe there's a little oil there. No, I think I'm gonna get my son here, and then he can turn it on and off, and I just keep watching it. But I don't want to run it too much because there's still no coolant in it, so I need to connect this with this, and I want to buy a nice proper hose for that at Napa. So yeah, well, it started right up. It's great, but still need to work on this a little bit to make sure that oil will come out here. Well, still no oil here, and I don't know what's the reason for that. So I think I need to put water in it, and I need to run it more and a high RPM. I think that's what the secret is. So I went to Napa and I bought one of these hoses. So now it's connected very nicely. It actually was a U-shaped hose. It was pretty cool that I was able to buy that. I filled it up with distilled water and antifreeze. I never put regular tap water in any of my cars. It's just not good for them. But anyhow, I still was struggling with the oiling of the valves. I was running up the engine. It was getting great pressure. It was over almost 16, 17 psi sometimes on higher RPMs, and it was running great. And still, oil pressure good, nothing coming out here. So I don't want to put the valve cover back until I know for sure that this valve train will get oiling. On this car, they don't get too much oil. Actually, in fact, very little oil, but they need some oil. But there's nothing coming out on this pipe. This pipe I replaced, as you may remember, it goes all the way to the other side, goes into the oil distributor where there is a valve. The valve will let the oil come through when the engine runs on higher RPMs. There's a restrictor in it, and it was all clean. Everything is clean, and I just don't understand. I replaced the hose, replaced the pipe, and it goes all the way there, so I figured that pipe would be fine. So I'm running the engine, and I hear is that this vacuum gauge, I put that vacuum gauge on it. I'm thinking maybe if I put vacuum on it, maybe it sucks the oil up. So I put the vacuum gauge here, and there was like totally a lot of vacuum on it, whatever this vacuum gauge makes, and nothing changed. I turned the engine off, vacuum still there. So I go inside for like 15 minutes and come out, and the vacuum is still there. So like, what is going on? So I looked at the other side of this line, and I said, well, gotta see there's something restrictive. So I came to the other side. I take it off from the oil distributor down there, and then I started the engine. And actually, before I did that, the vacuum was still on. So I disconnected here, and the vacuum was still on. So that told me that there was a restriction in this brand new pipe what I put on. So I had no better idea than blow a little bit of compressed air with this through the pipe coming from here, and the compressed air actually started to come out on the other side suddenly, and then you can hear it on the other side. It was all fine and dandy. So then I put the vacuum gauge on. It was no vacuum in it at all because it was sucking it through. So I guess the pipe cleared out. And just to be sure that it's actually working, I started the engine, and as soon as I started the engine, oil started pouring out from there. So I guess I just got to reconnect it. I think it's gonna work. So I'm really happy that this looks like this is gonna be solved, and I can put the valve cover gasket on it and be done with it. Yes! Did you see it? It was coming out. Woohoo! I can put it back together. Great. So it looks like it's coming out on every one of those. So perfect, I can put the valve cover back on. I was about to put on that valve cover when I realized I need to retorque the bolts. So I had to run the engine for a while. Actually, I ran it on high RPM, so now it's pretty warm. So I'm gonna start retightening. I can't really reach that. Number 1 is down there, but I can do the number 2 and so on. So it's supposed to be down there is number 2. And first we're gonna take it out. First we're gonna undo it. And then we're gonna go and put it on 80 foot-pounds. I'm supposed to wind it up before I started. And one by one we're gonna retie them in sequence. There it is. So I'm just gonna go around and retie all these bolts. First loosen them and then tie them up. The newer versions of this engine have a lot shorter of this side cover, and the valve cover is held on by little bolts on the side. So they don't really make a separate valve cover gasket for this one. They just use both, and you have some bolts, basically bolt holes sticking out on the side here, so you can see that here, but it still works just fine. But I have to clean off these bolts on the nuts on the top, and I painted them black, so they are drying for a while. And the next thing I wanted to do is to put on the front bumper. The guy I got it from, he was very nice to me, and then he gave me an extra bumper, which I kind of sort of prepared, got the bolts for it, and then I want to put it on to make it look better. However, I found all kind of alarming things on it while I was working on it, namely the wiring harness. I mean, look at this. Yeah, this is original. So I'm surprised it still didn't catch on fire. So they make very nice wiring harnesses for classic cars with the newest technology. They do look like the original ones. So if you look at here, they're gonna look just like, well, not as used as this one, but yep. So look at the alternator, or sorry, generator. Yeah, that's pretty bad too. So I'm gonna look for a nice original looking wire harness, and I mean, there's no reason to have these kind of yellow wires everywhere. And even though it's just a farm truck, I really like it. So slowly, if I change something on it, I want to do it right. So I'm gonna look for an original harness, and I'm gonna make the dash work. That's the next project what I'm gonna do. But for now, I'm gonna put these 2 nuts on top, and I'm gonna reinstall the hood and put this bumper on. This is the agenda. Well, big news, I got the hood on, and I also found some missing screws. So I need to buy some screws, what I need to install just about here to hold this front piece. And here's the bumper, what I got with it, and I'm trying to squeeze it on, and I don't know if these bolts are gonna work or not, but we'll try. My daughter is here and she's gonna help me. I'm gonna slide it in and try to screw it on, or screw it up, whichever it is. So here's this model, and looks like this bolt is at the lower, this bolt is on the top, and then the license plate is also on the top, but that was on the side, so I guess it doesn't matter. But looks like these bumper bolts were actually on the top, so I have no other reference to this than just look at this. So I think I'm gonna turn it upside down and see how it looks like. Fantastic. A slightly bent, very old bumper on a slightly rusted, fairly used truck. I think they go very well together. So the only thing I don't have is a license plate, but now that I have a license plate holder, I might just actually gonna get a license plate for it. So I'm gonna put it on the road, because you want to use it on the farm, not really going anywhere. But now that the oil question is fixed, I still need to work on the alignment on the front, because it's got that death wobble of over 35 miles per hour. But anyhow, this is a future task to do, but I think it looks better than it was before. Mission accomplished. We are investigating the source of the death wobble, and it looks like that's the reason for the season over here. Okay, and they move it a little bit. You can see it's pretty bad. This is the left side, so now I'm just gonna move it again. And this one looks pretty good. And that one up there, keep moving. That one up there is pretty good, and this one is pretty good too. So everything is fine, except the other side, this little ball joint or tie rod end, I would say. So yeah, I need another tie rod end. So I'm not a full-time mechanic, I'm actually an airline pilot. I just really like old cars, and I also like to be a grease monkey from time to time. So if I did something wrong with the truck, or you guys have something better way to do it, please send me a message, and I'm happy to listen to anybody's opinion on how it's supposed to be done, or what's supposed to be, how is it supposed to be done. If I screwed up something, please let me know in the comments. I'm always ready to learn something new. Still a lot of things are left to do on this thing, but now it's gonna be able to work on the farm, and I don't have to worry about the bearings and the engine going bad. So slowly I kind of have a list now what kind of parts I need to find and buy, and slowly I will start making it more usable. Probably gonna buy a gas tank for it, and a wiring harness, the connecting rod, and all kind of other things. So just one piece at a time, and every time I have some part came in, I'm probably gonna just do another repair video and keep on trucking with it. Well, thank you for watching, and then if you liked it, please give me a thumbs up or subscribe to my channel. Every Friday I'm putting out a new video about something. Thank you for watching, and see you guys next Friday. Bye.